The restricted free agent saga has finally finished for the summer of 2025. This is your daily basketball recap. My name is Levi Jacob, and let's jump right into it. Jonathan Kuminga has signed a 2-year deal with the Golden State Warriors. The amount in total for this contract is going to be $48.5 million. This took months to accomplish on both sides. It seems to be the best option for both situations, for both parties, really. He wanted more money, longer term. They wanted to trade him and be able to match contracts to his value. And ultimately, it just came to be a stalemate. This contract enables him to be traded mid-season. And that was part of the discussion as far as when they announced this story, actually, that this would, give him the flexibility to be potentially traded. That being said, this has a team option in the second year. So it could all, kind of break down again next year. But likely it won't be that he will end up being a restricted free agent at that point if the team does turn it down, in fact. So he would be kind of free to go in a sense, but they wouldn't really want to do that. They want to be able to figure something out in order to get something back for him. They said that this would give them the option to still kind of try to work out trade partners for the Warriors for the season, again later in the season. And Jonathan Kuminga's agent kind of came back almost immediately and said he doesn't want to get traded. He wants to stay in Golden State. I think we all know that that's not true at this point because they haven't shown him much respect or that they value him much other than being a trade asset. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for everybody involved. I think that's how it seems, at least on the outside. But we'll see. Moving forward, I hope he's able to fit into this offense a little better. And it could be also that next year they're able to come to the table with something more enticing for him after they feel that he has grown in his value and that he's shown them what they want to see. I don't see that happening. I feel like a lot of people would also say that they don't see that happening necessarily, but who knows? Only time will tell. And then the second to last, or I guess the last big name restricted free agent, Quinton Grimes, signed a 1-year, $8.7 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the qualifying offer. It's so bizarre. He doesn't now get the no trade clause, and then next year he will be an unrestricted free agent. He was demanding, or at some point he asked of them supposedly $30 million a year. It's so bizarre because the previous teams that he was on, he was a good role player for them, but he wasn't putting up numbers like he was putting up when he was on the Sixers. The problem is that on the depth chart, still for the Sixers, there's going to be several players ahead of him. Like, they don't want to really work on his development, and maybe he would be better suited on a team that needs 3-and-D. Like, there was a guy, it was I mentioned this earlier in the summer that he would be a really good fit on the Lakers, for example, and you could think of so many other teams that kind of had, like, maybe even the Spurs he'd probably be a good fit on, but they also had a lot of guards and forwards. I don't know. Or even the Magic, I think that he would have been a good fit on, to be able to help space the floor, but he's not going to get as many shooting options, and he's not going to be able to play so ISO. He's going to have to play in the flow of an offense. And very uniquely, the Sixers were able to do that towards the end of last season when he was having a bigger impact. So I don't think that it's the best outcome for everybody, but ultimately I think that these teams are being smart with their money, which is, as we've seen, much better for the long-term effect that it will have on a team. The only downside in my eyes is, honestly, the Sixers are already paying a very, very high bill for this team. They don't really have a lot of depth, and they get a lot of injuries. So I do think that he's still going to play a prominent enough role for them, especially when people are injured on this team this season. So who knows? This is that's kind of been my regular statement, but that's just the case. I do think that he's worth more than 8.7, but 8.7 is really a bargain for this year, and they could even also potentially. I don't think it's until closer to the trade deadline, but potentially ship him away for something else as well. Which again, I don't think there's many other teams out there trying to look for Quinton Grimes per se, as of right now, especially at that price point for what he was looking for. But I'm sure there's going to be other teams that are willing to offer him at least something more than $8.7 million a year. So next year we'll see what free agency is like for him. But to this point, I think this is this is just how this restricted free agent market and situation is going to go. I think for many young players going to the restricted free agent market in the future. That being said, there's one more contract extension also to get into today. Nikola Jovic has agreed to a 4-year, $62 million contract extension with the Heat. This is a big deal based on potential, but Jimmy Butler has sung the praises of this guy when he was on the Heat. He's a good glue guy for this Heat team. He's had some high points last season as well, some low points, but also he was injured for some of that, for those low points. I actually happen to be a guy who owns property on Nikola Jovic Island randomly. And I just feel like you can't really be mad at 4 years, $62 million, especially when you're already paying Terry Rozier like an enormous amount of money. And again, he's one of those people that I think because he has like that European effect to him, he's always gonna be able to work in like different situations, right? Like the more conventional thing where you set a guy up to be able to produce in a certain role for a team. I feel like for a lot of those European players, like they end up having like a more nuanced game. So maybe we don't really understand like a Nicholas Batum, right? When he was in Portland, he played really well, but he wasn't like the second option type of player. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that as far as how much they're paying him yearly, and what he can provide to this Heat team, I really don't mind the contract at all. And Pat Riley always, I don't know, he always has like some sort of plan, whether or not it makes sense. He has some sort of plan. And all the Heat players it's so funny. They're all talking about how much like they're sure that they're going to win the championship. Like this is championship or bust. And it's like, you know that your team like didn't really produce so well last year, even with, I understand the Jimmy Butler thing and whatever, but like, who do you think is on this? Who do you think is on this team? Like, do I think that they can make the playoffs? Yeah, I actually really do. I happen to like what this team could be cohesively with health, especially if Bam is able to do the thing that we think that Bam's supposed to do throughout his career. But it's been like 3 years of us being like, oh, well, if Bam really brings it this year, So we'll see. But I do think that they can make the playoffs, championship and finals. Even though the East is so wide open, I just don't. I don't think so. But I'd love to be proven wrong. Norman Powell believes that he's a budding all-star at 32. So, only time will tell for this crazy NBA season. Moving on, I'm actually going to recap 2 basketball games that took place over the last day and a half. It is the start of the NBA preseason. The Sixers and the Knicks played a preseason game in Abu Dhabi yesterday, and I'm not going to go too deep into these preseason games. I used to do that as a kid. I would be like, this guy's like putting up crazy stats. Like, do you understand? And then you like look at the box score and it's like, because he played 30 minutes for some reason and he played against a bunch of two-way guys, But just a couple of notes, just as far as maybe storylines that you could see moving forward into the NBA season. So the Sixers didn't play Embiid, obviously. And they also didn't play Grimes because I don't think he was signed by this point. Maxey and Edgecombe just have a really good natural chemistry. And Edgecombe, he's a rookie. He's a rookie forward guard. He's going to go out there guns blazing when he has the opportunity. I really think that if this guy gets the minutes, if Jared McCain spends a prolonged amount of time out of the lineup for whatever reason, if, whatever, he really gets the minutes this year to show what he's worth, I think that he actually could win Rookie of the Year because I'm a very big VJ Edgecombe guy. He's just awesome. He has like that killer instinct, that killer attitude. You really see how intense he is and like just how much passion he has for the game. So I'm looking forward to what he has to bring to the basketball court this year. He had a dunk attempt that almost killed Mitchell Robinson, honestly. But he's awesome. I'm a very big fan. And I think that the consistency will come as time goes on, but I think that he's going to be I do think that he's going to be a star in this league. And I just don't love their depth. I actually happen to like. I'm interested to see what Dominic Barlow can be for this team. He can shoot it outside a little bit. He might end up being like more of a reliable guy to go to, but he's not a starting caliber forward. That's the issue. So, instead of a Gershon Yabusele like from last year, he's more like a Gershon Yabusele from like earlier in his career. Where like there's like flashes of potential, but he's just not. He's not able to take on that role fully. But Adem Bona really was flying all over the place last night in the minutes that he played. He only played 13 minutes, but I'm just, I don't know. I like these young guys. I think that they're fun to watch. And yeah, I think that this Sixers team specifically has a lot of young talent that I'm very interested in watching. And I think that if they get the opportunity this season, they'll show you some pretty bright spots, but I don't know if to tell you that it'll lead to wins per se just yet. And as far as the Knicks, I mean, they didn't play all their starters as many minutes as they possibly could. That's an upside. But again, it's a preseason game. These guys mostly are veterans, so they're not out there trying to show you their best games. Jordan Clarkson, however, heaved it up at the end. I think it was the end of it was right before halftime or whatever, without a care in the world, because it no longer counts as his shot. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so glad that they changed that rule. And people look eager to try to hit those half-court shots, full-court shots. It's cool. And then today, the Pelicans played against Melbourne United. I'm not going to go through Melbourne United because I don't think anybody else knows in such great detail who most of these players are as of right now. Looking at the Pelicans, Zion played 15 minutes. Trey Murphy played 18 minutes, closer to 19 minutes. They combined for 33 points. That natural chemistry between the two of them is also looking great. Jordan Poole missed a bunch of shots, as Jordan Poole does, but he played 20 minutes. Jeremiah Fears missed a bunch of shots. I think that they are relying on very, very inconsistent players, but that being said, Zion looks like he's moving with a quickness. He's got his athleticism back. He's got his speed back. He just looks lighter on his feet. He had an alley-oop that was like it was monstrous. I would go watch it. That was fun. It like made me be excited for basketball being back soon. And Trey Murphy the third is showing off more of an offensive bag than he had before, so I'm really excited about that. I think that he's going to have a really big season, and I think the Pelicans are relying on him to have a really big season. Jeremiah Fears looked like how I think we all thought. He's a little bit early career Russell Westbrook-ish. He doesn't really find a shot that he doesn't like. I would actually say more early career Jordan Poole-ish, which is kind of funny to me. Like he's like very cool. He's got a lot of swag. Again, doesn't meet a shot that he doesn't like, and he's just taking a bunch of them. So, but I think the general idea is there of now that Zion is more able to run the floor. He worked on his playmaking. Trey Murphy the third also worked on his playmaking clearly, and you just surround them with a bunch of shooters, and you got guys inside like Kevon Looney, who is out there tonight, and Yves Missi, and they have a bunch of centers. I don't know to tell you that they're going to be the most impactful on the court, but yeah, you just have a lot of 3-and-D guys on this team, and a bunch of guys that can hit threes around a bunch of guys that can pack the paint. So Willie Green has a lot of mix and match players to work with as far as this team is moving forward, and I hope that health benefits them this year, being able to play at a really high level because they're on the court, and I would love that. And I think you want to see Zion Williamson be able to make good on his legacy, on what everyone believed of him to be, and I'm hopeful, not too hopeful, because we've been burned by this before, that he can produce this season. And I think Trey Murphy III also being on the court next to him during that time might just be the answer that they've been trying to show us the whole time and that we've expected yet not been able to get. So those are my notes from the preseason games so far. I will not be going as in-depth about most of the preseason games. I'm just excited that basketball is back. Honestly, it's been too long. Euro basket was pretty good, but it wasn't it's just not NBA games for me. But it was exciting, very exciting. So that was your daily basketball recap in 15 minutes or less. I hope you guys like that ESPN top 100 to 76 list. We're going to be doing much more of that moving forward. So look for that this coming week. And stay tuned for all good news and updates moving forward. We're just getting really into the start of the preseason, so we're very excited about it. Thank you all for watching. Please let me know down below what you think, updates, anything I missed, anything that you thought that was important that I didn't bring up here. Or if I'm wrong, let me know. Just let me know. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.